Mayuresh Joshi is joining in. He's the head of research at William O'Neill. Mayuresh, hi, welcome to the show. Any of these chemical stocks that interest you from a longer term time horizon?
Afternoon, Sonia. I think as Sonal pointed out, I think a lot of names within this spaces itself had to bear the brunt in terms of destocking that was happening across the globe, expectations in terms of the Chinese dumping taking place, and therefore I think the realizations specifically for bulk commodities were down significantly. I think to a certain extent there is sanity returning back, and as inventory levels are at abysmal levels at this point of time, I think it's a matter of time as demand starts catching up. The kind of inventory restocking that will start taking place will definitely have a boost. So that might be a couple of quarters away, which means the second half of this financial year will be mostly a year of recovery for most of these chemical names. And therefore, I think we are a little bit more sanguine in terms of niche chemicals that probably operate in certain specific areas like EVs, electrolytes, as an example. And we will keep an eye out for that. So I think we're not definite buyers at this juncture, Sonia. But our take is that by the end of third quarter, I think there'll be more clarity emerging on how the globe is probably positioned. And therefore, stocks like a Neogen, as an example, stocks within the spaces itself sound pretty interesting. So I think I will look out for stocks which are into the niche battery spaces, specifically electrolytes. But I'll wait out for one more.
Do you think there is upside in Zomato from current levels?
Afternoon, Rima. I think it's been a fabulous show once again in the preceding quarter. And what has largely transpired is the entire aspect and perspective in terms of how the numbers have probably played out. So for the core delivery business, both in terms of the absolute number as well as margins has been exemplary. The expectations in terms of the Hyperpure and the Blinkit business, the management now feels Q1 FY25, which means in the next 2 to 3 quarters, there should be a significant amount of accretion happening from these two businesses as well. And that, as that happens, I think the overall losses from both the Hyperpure and the Blinkit business, as it starts receding downwards, I think that will provide the next leg of earnings fillip for the stock itself. So I think a lot has been gestated by the stock. So I think the momentum might very well continue. Existing investors can definitely ride the momentum.
Momentum is the word you can use for the market. It's quite apt this afternoon, Monday. One more pocket of the market that has been really excited today is sugar. Some of these sugar stocks, Bajaj Hindustan, for instance, is up 17% right now. It's a pretty huge move. Renuka is up about 6% as well. Let's pull up Dhampur and Balrampur if we can, just to see if some of this is rubbing off on the others as well. But one or two of these names definitely standing out. That's Renuka with the 6% up move. Mayuresh, hi. Festive season, are you in the mood for any sugar?
Festive season to you as well, Surabhi. After 20 sweets. And in fact, Bikaji Foods also came out with its numbers right now, which look like a stellar set, looking at their packet sweets as well. But yes, for the sugar pack as a whole, I think the Brazilian output is expected to be lower. And with the kind of diversion that is happening towards ethanol at the global level, the expectations in terms of raw sugar prices are expected to inch higher. In the Indian context as well, the expectations because of deficient rains, there might be lesser output, and with consumption expected to remain strong, even if one accounts for the carryover inventory from the last sugar season, and some curbs, if any, put on exports, you'll still be having lesser amount of carry turnover for the next year as well. Ethanol prices on the rise, and a lot of these sugar companies have actually extended their distillery capacities and made it operational, which means the kind of realizations from the ethanol story, specifically the B-heavy molasses, where prices have been revised to 58, 59 odd rupees, should be incrementally positive. So yes, I think numbers should be incrementally positive. The only risk factor should be, as I see it, is with elections around the corner, if there are significant hikes, both in terms of FRPs and SAP prices, that might probably subdue their balance sheets. But I think the ethanol structural story probably stays with guys like Balrampur, Dhampur, and the entire package.
So while BKG's reported good numbers, and look at the way the margins have expanded from 11.1%, margins have come in at 14.6%, and that's driving a 46% jump in the company's profitability. The stock is up 3.5% today, but QSR companies are not having such a good day. So Barbecue Nation's Q2 numbers appear to be a bit disappointing. There is a top line growth of 6%. Barbecue Nation's top line has declined by 3%, and the company has reported a loss of 12.3 crore, and the stock reacted adversely to the loss that the company has reported. So QSRs still no noticeable pickup in the numbers. Mayuresh, what about the PSU banks? We've not had fireworks. In fact, there have been a few misses, particularly Bank of Baroda stands out. Given the kind of rally that we've seen in PSU banks, if someone holds PSU banks in their portfolio, should they continue to stay invested, or is it time to switch out?
I think at least the mid-sized PSU banks had a stellar rally, Rima, and the numbers were reasonably okay even this time round. I think the whole angle in terms of how the numbers will now play out, specifically in a scenario where the deposit growth is happening at a higher rate, which means that NIMs are going to come under pressure over the next few quarters. And with some excess provisioning that is expected out of the expected credit loss provisionings that need to be mandated by these banks, there is going to be some relative stress that starts coming onto the balance sheet. Again, a lot of these mid-cap or the second-tier PSU banks, the capital adequacy will also be needed to shore up. And therefore, I think a large part of the rally has probably happened. Some profit booking, if investors can do, I think it's no harm. We've already done some profit booking at our portfolio levels as well. But within the larger names, I think only State Bank, Rima, very frankly, stays on our buy watch list. Numbers were very good for the quarter gone by. And with the base that they've probably got and the expectations that one probably carries on all these parameters probably put together, and with the kind of price move that the stock has probably not delivered as much as the others, maybe this is one bank that probably might stand out over the next few months.
Mayuresh, thank you very much for joining in.